Welcome back to Crime Watch. Last year, police set up special teams following a spate of cash-in-transit robberies. Dozens of arrests were made. These gangs appear to have gone underground for a while, but they now seem to be back. We are joined by the CEO of the South African Banking Risk Information Centre, Kalyani Pillay, and the CEO of FBV Security, Mark Barrett. Hello, Kalyani.
Hello,
Kalyani,
Yusuf.
are these robbers back, or are we looking at new gangs?
You know, Yusuf, it always happens that you will still get some of the old gang still coming up. They regroup all the time. We see that year in and year out. So the police have made a number of arrests. I think for last year we had over 190 arrests. But of course there are different gangs and also from different years of incidents that haven't taken place. But definitely we are seeing a slight increase in the last couple of weeks. But nowhere near the way it was.
190 arrests over a period of a year. How many convictions?
So you know, it's very difficult when you compare year on year because the arrests don't necessarily go to court and are not finalized in the year following or even in the same year. So just in terms of those stats, I mean, the police really did do good. I think if the exact figure was 195 people arrested last year. And I must say, Yusuf, that the CIT companies have also, you know, they collaborated and worked quite closely together in terms of supporting the police. What we had was for this year, if we're looking at convictions, we saw 21 people being convicted this year already, just in the first 4 months of the year. Some very significant convictions and sentences. We've had 6 life sentences. We've had sentences going from 56 years, 48 years, 35 years. So we've had very sort of significant sentences as well. And we've already, as it stands at the moment, have another 20 people that were arrested this year already.
Okay, look at the figures for 2019. Compare it to 2018, year on year. Are we up? Are we down overall?
We're down quite significantly. Of course, we want it to be gone altogether. So we're seeing on what we call vehicle on the road attacks. I think last year the South African public saw quite a bit about the attacks on the vehicles or on the road. And we down by 53% if you compare January to where we are in May now to the same period last year. But overall, in terms of all the different modus operandi, you get your cross pavements, you get at ATMs, you get static vehicles, all the different modus operandi, we down by 29% as we stand now.
Okay, good news. Mark Barrett, SBV Security, just last week in Pretoria, in Laudium, your vehicle was attacked, millions of rand stolen. It never ends. What are you doing?
Yusuf, thanks very much for the opportunity. I think that in the business that we're in the high-risk game. There's no doubt about that. I think, regrettably, we did suffer the attack last week, and the authorities and our teams are working extensively to make sure that we bring to book those individuals and those culprits that were involved in that incident.
We look at that modus operandi. Broad daylight, heavy firepower, large number of robbers, getaway vehicles, even suspicion that your guards may be involved, just judging by their body language and their actions. What do you say?
I think, Yusuf, what we have to recognize is from an SPV perspective, our viewpoint is quite simple. You know, when it comes to these kinds of crimes that are perpetrated against us, we take cognizant and focus on those individuals that, from an external perspective, are attacking the organisation. But we also take consideration of where, in fact, there might well be internal collusion and staff involvement. And from an investigation perspective, we will continue until such time as we bring all of those individuals to book, irrespective of whether they work for our organisation or whether they come from external.
A few, 2-3 weeks later, any breakthrough on the particular robbery?
I think, Yusuf, at this point in time, it's a very sensitive time of the investigation. What I will say is, based on the latest update of today, I'm particularly happy in the progress that's been made. The cooperation with authorities is certainly making a difference, and I'm looking forward to reporting back on seeing some progress in the weeks to come.
Kalyani, are the cops doing enough, yes or no?
I think that they have actually really pulled out a lot of stops, especially last year when we saw those significant amount of incidents and of such a violent nature. But I think what we've also seen is that the task team that's been put into place, you can't work in isolation. And I think the fact that they've, they work quite closely with the industry bodies, with the 3 CIT companies, with the bank supporting as well. We've certainly seen a number of arrests and some successes. Of course, we're never happy. You know, that is we want more done. We want to see it done quicker. We want to see it done, so that we make sure that these arrests are not just arrests, that it goes through to a conviction, and that that it becomes a deterrent. So we certainly will be supporting the police, on behalf of the CIT companies, with the CIT companies, and supporting the police and the prosecution, with the hope that we can get these things to move a little bit faster.
Now, earlier you mentioned, yes, we've got two categories of robberies. The one is your so-called cross-pavement robbery, which is also an ongoing problem. And the second one, which is more worrying, is your attacks on vehicles on the roads.
Yes.
Those particular robberies seem to be highly organized, Kalyani.
Absolutely.
Possible police involvement, soldiers possibly involved. What's your suspicion?
Yusuf, I think the incidents of the past, and some of it that's already come out, has actually shown that they have had law enforcement involved in some of the incidents. I think that's been made public as well. The police completely opposed to it. They've made arrests of policemen as well. Yes, highly organized. These are not criminals that just get up one morning and decide that they're going to do whatever they do. So they're highly organized. They're very well armed. They have heavy ammunition, automatic and semi-automatic weapons. They're well trained. They have sufficient information. They've got their tentacles out all over, which is the very nature of organized crime, which enables them to do what they're doing. So and always a concerning thing, and like I say, the important thing is to be able to ensure that the investigations are done quickly, that the people are brought to court quickly, and all we can do is support this.
Now, Mark, SBV, you are owned by the banks. You transport millions and millions of rands of cash every day. You even fill up ATMs, you supply the banks. Will we ever reach a stage where we will say we don't transport cash anymore? Is that going to happen?
I think, Yusuf, that's an ongoing debate, I think, across multiple economies. But certainly in the SA context, cash is a critical payment instrument in our economy. It is not going to go away. I think what is true is, in some instances, there are alternatives. And we see the banks that are pushing, alternative opportunities. We're seeing, with the ongoing sort of inventions and perfection of mobile applications, there are certainly alternatives to using cash as a payments instrument. We'll have to wait and see what it is. I think from a foreseeable future perspective, cash is here to stay.
Are you using technology enough, Mark?
Yes, sir, we make extensive use of technology, and both from a vehicle perspective, in the technology that we equip our team leaders with, from a control room monitoring perspective, we make extensive use of certainly the latest technologies that are available.
What percentage would you say is inside involvement by your own guards within the security industry? Is it a large chunk of it? Surely these robbers can't be executing these robberies so brazenly without inside information, inside help.
I think, Yusuf, internal collusion is a challenge for everybody, and no different to any other industry where the crimes are perpetrated against organizations. The context from an SPV perspective is internal collusion is actually quite small in terms of the numbers. If we have a look at in terms of consequence management, there are ex-employees of SPV that are serving time because of their involvement in these crimes. As I make the point earlier, we don't choose sides. If people are involved in the crimes, whether they are SPV employees or external, we will work tirelessly to make sure that they are brought to book.
Kalyani, a worrying trend we've seen over the past few years is that the vehicles get stopped, they then get bombed. The safes are then bombed open and they make away with the cash. The use of explosives is a big problem. What is SABRIC doing to stop that?
So Yusuf, it's a combination of things. So over and above working with law enforcement, we talk to the private sector as well. We talk to government as well. We're talking to the people at mines. We do it collectively with the police. So there's a number of initiatives that have been on the go for a long time. And of course, some of those things have picked up. We've picked up again, especially after last year's incidents. It's got to be there's got to be collaboration. You've got to close all the gaps at the same time. The minute you leave anything open, if you're not consistent in terms of how you're dealing with it, you're going to have these things happening.
Mark, information for members of the public is pivotal. You offer rewards of up to R1 million. What do ordinary people who have information, how do they go about passing on that information? Yusuf,
I think it's an important point, and I think particularly social media and the ability to bring together all of this information is of key importance for us. We urge all members of the public to have a look at our website. We've got multiple contact numbers on that, and we urge every single member of the public, where they see information, where they have information, they see potential incidences, to share that with us.
Kalyani, are we going to win this war?
We certainly hope that we are. I think, the fact is that we've seen already a number of successes. The fact that it's down already. Yes, we have seen a few pick up in the last couple of days, but everybody is on it. The CIT companies are focused on it. They work very well together as well. It's about economies of scale. It's about leveraging off each other as well to try. So it's not just the police that needs to do their bit, but it needs to be the CIT companies as well. The public has an important role to play. We say so often that they have information about syndicates, and it's so important to come out, even if they want to do it anonymously. Vitally important that all of us as citizens of this country, that we all play our part. So definitely we strive continuously to make sure we can win this war.
Well, Ian says Govan Whittles filed this report during the height of the cash-in-transit robberies last year.
More than a dozen cameras keeping a close eye on the guards' every move. It's a similar situation up above. This state-of-the-art system makes the guards feel safer.
It's scary at times, but having said that, the technology that is in the vehicle, the training that we are being provided with, the backup that we are getting from the team that are being deployed on the ground, the helicopter, and the intervention of the police as well, management having taken that initiative to say we need to train you, to upgrade your training. So it feels better, it gives you that hope.
Fidelity spends 4.5 million rand a month on additional security. Technology was upgraded in response to a spike in cash and transit heists 3 years ago. It exposed the weaknesses in the company's transport system.
The vehicles weren't armor plated. Then it moved into vehicles were just normally armor plated and not preventing any AK-47 penetrating the vehicle. We had to change that armor so that we can prevent that. Then it went to armor-piercing bullets, which is also a different level. So we had to change our vehicles the whole time to make sure that we can protect our staff and make sure they can get to where they need to.
Seloteko is battle-ready, but still depends on his colleagues for backup.
The moment you got the consignment in hand, the parcel, whatever the pickup was, it's a scary moment because you don't know who's waiting for you out there. Then you get more relief when you look around, you see your third man, the guy that is always giving you a backup, and you see when you step into the truck, you feel more safe as well because now it feels like you have arrived at home.
Fidelity armored trucks have been targeted 12 times this year. Danger is almost guaranteed. But these men are breadwinners.
Beside my wife and kids and my 3 children, I've got family that depends on me, that I left them at home. So every day they will have to give me a call to check on me, how I'm doing. And it is a sad moment. I'm happy at the same time that I'm going to provide for them, but they just have to hope that I'm coming back in the evening.
Once a week at Fidelity's headquarters, this is the meticulous staff vetting process.
We've got a very strict policy how we employ, pre-employ, and often do voice stress and polygraphs on all our staff to make sure that they're clean and they remain clean.
The nerve center of this entire security empire. Teko believes it's only a matter of time before what is on display here will be enough to turn the tide against those who are brazen enough to take them on.
One day it will be over for them. They won't have any place to hide because every day we're getting this training. Every day the company is taking initiative to make sure that we are safe. So they're not going to get tired. They will look after us and we'll keep going. They won't have any place to hide anymore.
Govan Whittles, Johannesburg.
After the break, we ask, is technology being used enough to protect our cash vans, also wanted and missing?